I have to tell you, my mother was in her 80s, but she insisted on working. She lived in Chicago and worked at a dress shop. And once a year, we would bring her out here to visit us. And when she came, my former wife, Georgia, said, "Why don't you put her in a genie?" So I said, "All right." And I said, "Natalie, would you like to be in I Dream of Jeannie?" She said, "Sure." So I wrote a script for her. It was a seance, and Georgia, my wife, who was an actress, was playing a phony fortune teller, and my mother was playing the part of one of the people sitting around the table at the seance. So I wrote this little piece for my mother, and then the next day I went to the studio, and I auditioned Queenie Smith, who's a wonderful professional actress, and I thought, I've got to give those lines to Queenie. I'll write something else for my mother. So I wrote a scene for my mother, and I went home and showed it to her, and I said, "I'm taking the other lines away. These are your new lines." And she looked at it, and she said, "No." And I said, "No what?" She said, "My character would never say that." This 80-year-old lady who sells dresses in Chicago was telling me her character would never say that. And I couldn't take those lines away from her. The next day she was on the set, I had to write something else for Queenie. And Natalie, my mother, read her lines, and everyone on the set thought she was a professional actress. They didn't know she was my mother.